Well, we've grown out, we've nitty bong. I'm Engineer Hoist, and welcome to our weekly Transformers Earth Wars news show and more. So, of course, we'll talk about the news. And then I got some crystals to crack that we got from over the past weekend, and I think I might have a couple of chips from the Battle Pass, the Cyber Pass. And we skipped out on the whole toy section last week because of reasons. So we've got that to cover, what I got last week. I got some more new stuff this week, and it's going to be a fun time. Stick around. We'll be here for a little while. And, yeah, so let's say hi to everybody here who's here live. Oh, by the way, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Come join us live, like these folks over here, like Itachi, Uechi, and Oktar, a couple of our channel members. You can hit the join button if you want to become a channel member and help support the show. Catherine Salguero, Nemesis Prime, Joey Johnston, Braden Melton, Ditto, Davish Tiger, Razorquake 46, William Wilkinson, and Luca the Coolest Bird, Lord Avix, Bulkhead's Hobbies, another channel member. Thank you guys for your support. And yeah, I saw Brix Motion was here. And yeah, welcome. Thank you for everybody for being here. Let's go talk about the news. This weekend's event is called Disassembly. Gather your alliance! Take your part in this weekend's event to win up to 40 premium combat chips, 150,000 spark and combat spark, 1,500 4-star shards, 4,000 3-star shards, 20,000 premium shards, 1 G-metal, and 6 gold power core chips. As you could probably gather from the last slide, it's an alliance event. It's a one big prize list that's called a totalizer. Starts at the usual Friday start time, ends at the usual Monday stop time, and Super XP. It seems to be the standard now, Super XP. So what happens when we want to do more, like Ultra XP? I don't know, maybe. We'll see if that ever happens. You gotta be headquarters level 4 to participate in the event. I think most of you guys out there watching this are. You got to be in an alliance. Again, I think most of you guys are. Hit that yellow event button and you guys know how to play the event. Battle zones are the standard battle zones, and yeah, here's the prize list. It's available in the newsletter if you want to scrutinize, or you can pause the video on after you go back and watch it on the replay if you want to see all of the prizes, or it's going to be listed in the event dialogue as well in the game when it starts. New combat bots. Oh, I didn't even realize the way I put it totally blocked his face off. Zaur. Can I move it? Yeah, there's his face. There he is, peeking out from behind there. Zaur is intrepid and maybe a little naive. He truly believes size doesn't matter and that he can stomp along with the big bots, particularly his heroes, the Dinobots. It doesn't help his credibility that sometimes Zaur can be a bit of a sucker for a cute face and go all soppy and bashful. But beware, enraged, he's as tenacious and impugnacious as any combat bot. And yeah, this is I just for whatever reason just now I'm thinking of this little tiny Diplodocus or Brontosaurus little combat bot running around. Reminds me of. Yeah, you guys ever seen that image where it's like a bunch of monkeys running around on the ground with their tails up, and somebody said it's like a bunch of little dinosaurs running around? That's this guy. That's this guy. He's running around like he's a big old dinosaur, but he's like this big. Oh yeah, the face cam froze, didn't it? Oh boy. Let's try changing this. And oh boy. Oh my goodness. That's how it always is. You know, there's, you know, where's my button? Oh, that didn't help things. Hang on a second. Oh boy. Are we back? Are we back? Okay, there we go. That's why I have this. I assigned it to a button. It's real easy. Good gracious. Yeah, so I was talking about this dude. He's like this big. Alright, so that's, yeah. So it definitely needed the visual indication there. It's always something. So anyway, yeah, we don't know his ability yet, but Zaur, or We're gonna call him Zaur. For now, anyway. We're moving on to Slugfest, though. Slugfest is prone to fly into wild berserker rages, often because of some perceived slight. But the truth is, often he doesn't really get the finer points of banter, as he's a little, well, a lot, slow on the uptake sometimes. But when it comes to just lowering his head and charging, few can resist this small but deadly force of nature. And so, I showed it off last week. We've got the G1 Slugfest here. I've had since I was a child. Him and Overkill were the only tapes I ever got from the actual G1. And yeah, he may be small, but he's pretty spiky. So, you know, still not somebody you'd really want to be stepping on or getting into a little bit of a battle with. So, Itachi Uechi says, I'm going to call him Sour. Yeah, just basically say that, but with the Z sound instead of an S sound, and you got Zaur. Yeah, there you go. Oh, let's see. Next up, big surprise. Although maybe if you paid attention during last week's story, not that much of a surprise that we're getting medics again. Finally, for years we've been stuck with just the 3 medics, Hook and I started going Autobots and Decepticons. Hook and Shockwave and Ratchet and Wheeljack were in the game initially, and then we got Reflector and First Aid added to the game. And from that point on, that was it. No more medics. That's enough. You guys don't need any more medics. We're not adding medics ever again to the game until now. We're getting more medics. And to be honest, there's not that many medics. I mean, look at the Decepticons. Hook and Shockwave, neither one of them are medics. But, you know, they had to have somebody be a healer, and you know, so those are the 2 they picked. But now we're actually getting 2 new bots, as you can see on the screen, who are actually medics. Flatline is indeed a Decepticon medic from the IDW comics. Minerva is actually from the G1 continuity over in Japan, like the Headmasters or a type of show, I think. Maybe not exactly Headmasters there, but yeah, so she basically has Nightbeat's body, or at least the toy was. They shared a mold, and so yeah, so there you go. There's Minerva, and I believe she's showing up in the IDW comics as well. There was definitely a hint at that in the story last week. Interesting thing about Flatline. If you've been following this channel for a while, or if you haven't, I'm going to tell you now. I was invited over to C.O.M.B.A.T studio in London, part of the Nontoxic Gamers. Thanks to APOC for helping get that set up. And I think most of the people involved in that aren't with C.O.M.B.A.T anymore, or at least they've moved on to other things. We were actually over there to test a different game, but you know, because we're all Earth Wars fans, we asked for, you know, if we could meet with the team, and we did. So we had a nice hour and a half long chat. I know Giannis was there. If you guys have been around a while, Adam was there. Josh was the designer at the time, so they're asking, if we had any feedback or whatever, and if there anybody we'd want to be adding to the game. Obviously, I said Hoist. Let's bring in Hoist. It would make sense for him to be a medic, right? Maybe. Turns out Hoist wasn't a medic, but they countered with the questions like, well, who would you think would be the Decepticon counterpart? And I just thought about it for a second, and right about that time is when the Dark Cybertron's storyline arc was going on in IDW, or it might have just finished. And Flatline actually had a couple of notable appearances in there, and I said, I got a Decepticon medic for you, Flatline. Now, whether that meeting from, 3.5 years ago, maybe? Whether that had actually anything to do with this, or if it's just a happy coincidence, I don't know. But I'm going to take credit for it. I suggested Flatline. It just took a very long time for him to show up in the game. I'm pretty sure if you go back and look at my video when I think I did a recap of the trip over there, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it then. So yeah, I'm taking credit for Flatline. Whether that was actually the impetus for why he's coming into the game, or if it's just a happy accident, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know, but I'm taking credit for it. So there we go. And there are a couple of images. They also showed us their alt modes. Yeah, pretty much normal alt mode for Minerva. And Flatline, interestingly, has never had a toy. And if you look at him here, his alt mode and even his bot mode to an extent looks very similar to that Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter figure. And that apparently, according to TF Wiki, they said when they designed the character for the comics, they basically had that Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter toy in mind with some tweaks, obviously with the colors, and also he's got wheels there up on his shoulders, whereas the toy doesn't actually have that. So that's that, and it would be cool to see if, and there are rumors that we might be getting a Minerva toy in the new Transformers Legacy line, so that'd be cool. Whether we're going to get Flatline or not, don't know. They're obviously not. While we do obviously see bots related to toys that are coming out, we're definitely not, forced to that. We're not held to only that. For example, Dirtbag comes to mind. I don't think Dirtbag has ever had a toy except for G2, I think it was, which I thought was very kind of interesting. Patriot Prime just last week, I think, got a gift of a Dirtbag toy from a subscriber, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so just because it's coming to the game doesn't mean it has a toy or that it's getting a toy, but it would be cool to see a Flatline toy. So there you go. Oh yeah, and I think he's got a new grill too, compared to the that Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter. And that's basically it. So if you're watching somewhere else or you're watching the replay, youtube.com/EngineHoist, come on over, hit the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you can know when we go live, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, or you can just come on by at that time, set a reminder on your phone, or your watch, or your tablet, or whatever else that you happen to set alarms on. Yeah, and you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter for infrequent behind-the-scenes content at Engineer Hoist. And credits, do want to say thank you to all of the channel members who are scrolling through for your financial support. It does help the channel. Basically, the whole setup that you're seeing, the lights, the microphones, cameras, everything like that. Your support helps fund all that to try to help make the whole process and the presentation better. And thank you also to the moderators. And if the eagle-eyed viewers out there, you might have seen a new moderator. PBChew18 is now one of our joined the moderation crew. You may know him as the Minecraft guy. He creates pretty much just the Decepticons, although he has done the Shatterglass Autobots there in Minecraft. We show him in the community corner when he's got new creations, and it's always very appreciative of that. We didn't have anything this week, so there was no community corner this week, but stay tuned. I have a feeling we'll be seeing some from him and possibly others next week. And that's over on the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, the link is in the description. Come on over, say hi, interact, talk about the game, and whatever else. And PB Chews also does a lot of great stuff on the Discord. Posts information about the newsletter. Always very quick when new bots come out, goes and grabs information about the lore of the characters. We've got a whole channel set up for that. Yeah, definitely go and come on over to the Discord and check all that stuff out. So, unfortunately, he said he wasn't going to be able to be on the stream tonight, but still, he's usually here. So, let's move on to look at me, apparently. Hey, Red Alert, how's it going? I meant to hit this button because, like I said, we didn't talk about it, toys or anything last week. In fact, we even just kind of held him up to the camera. So yeah, here is the G1 Slugfest. You can see the chrome is definitely well faded on his weapons here. But yeah, this is original G1. Actually survived in my collection all the way from childhood, so this is definitely one of my oldest figures. And honestly, the G1 stuff that I still have, I don't know what I got first or when. There's not a whole lot of memory around it, but I definitely know this guy was around then. I'm kind of glad that we're seeing him in the game, so I was like, gave a chance to come show this guy off. And as far as the 2 new bots that we're talking about, this is Fans Hobby Athena, who is clearly intended to be Minerva. And I got her 2 years ago. It was right around TFCon. It was during the 2020 TFCon. You know, they do exclusive figures, and one of the exclusives for TFCon that got canceled because of, you know, was a different version of her. They actually made quite a few from this mold. It was a Windblade figure turned into a car and all that. But then I also saw her too, and I thought she looked really cool as like a little medical car. And so I went ahead and picked her up too, and I'm glad that I did, because it's the only figure of Minerva that I have. I don't really know much about the character. I wasn't around for that show, but I do like the look of it. It's always nice to see another little medic. But yeah, so that is Fans Hobby Athena standing in for our Minerva for this saga, and as they said, Flatline was based on the Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter, and here is Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter, so you can kind of see what Flatline is supposed to be in toy form, sort of. Like I said, the Flatline's got a different grill, he's got a different head, he's got more of a faceplate, whereas Trail Cutter doesn't. This is a third-party add-on kit I got for him, and then of course Flatline does have some wheels, and I just noticed that Trail Cutter's actually got a couple of 5mm peg holes, so somebody who was pretty adept at designing 3D printed add-on parts, you could totally take a Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter and turn it into Flatline. Create a couple of little shoulder pauldrons there that plug into his arms, maybe a new head, or maybe even just swap the Hoist head, and even the grill, you could. I don't know if it comes across well, but he's got this little front section here. It's not really meant to have anything plugged in, but I mean, if you're talented enough, you might be able to get something like that and use that to plug in. So I could totally see somebody, a motivated person who was good at 3D printing and designing specifically. You could probably come up with a few parts and probably make a pretty decent Flatline out of this guy. But I am not one of those people. So it's not. don't be waiting for anything like that. But so there you go. We have Minerva and Flatline there for comparison with the in game. So yeah. So there we go. And after this, let's see, what do we usually do? We do some crystal cracking, right? Yeah. And let's see. Oh, let's check in on the battle pass. So we've got 3 new quests. What do we get? We've got destroy 5 shock towers, 5 battles with Trailbreaker. Well, that's kind of ironic that we've got a Trailbreaker figure sitting right here in front of me, and I get him. And use 3 ability battles in with those two. The first and third, very easy to do. Using the battles with Trailbreaker on your squad, not as easy. But one of the tips I picked up on Discord, I apologize, I don't remember who said it, but basically what they said is if when you get something like this, pick a squad and just assign it however many of a character you have. Say it's Trailbreaker, and so you could just put like your 2-star, and then just go run them a single time in Zone 1. Swap it for the 3-star, run it a single time in Zone 1 or 2 or 3, a low zone basically that they could solo. And then if you got a 4-star, you could do that too. So you could very quickly get through those without having to mess up any of your other squads. And I did that. And it actually worked well for Optimal Optimus, which is the one I had yesterday. And let's see, Silverbolt is saying, and for the bot-specific ones, you could do both Zen and regular battles. So yeah, so you could also get an extra bonus one by going and doing an elimination mode battle with each of those 2. So very quickly, you can knock out 4 of the 5 by doing... assuming you have a 2-star and a 3-star. You could do a 2-star and a 3-star in regular battle back to back, then you could do the same thing in the elimination mode. And even if you just have the 2-star of the character, you can still, you can still work that. It'd be a little bit more challenging, but you can still get it done pretty easy. I also kind of left this one and didn't claim it just yet. It actually just happened like right before the stream. One of the more elusive quests to complete: win a battle on defense. How about that? It happens from time to time, so I'm going to go ahead and claim that. Oh, and totally not planned, but it actually gave me a couple of rewards. So I'm going to go ahead and claim that nice juicy combat spark and that even juicier XP increase there. So there's where I'm at so far on the Cyber Pass, and yes, I did purchase the Premium Pass because, of course, I mean it's if you can afford $10, this is great to do. I definitely wanted to rush to the 500 point there to get the troop XP increase. So yeah, getting an extra 25% on every battle is awesome. And I saw when I mentioned the thing about ultra XP, I saw some of you guys saying with that extra 25% on top of the super, it is kind of an ultra there. And so that one I definitely wanted to get to quickly. Building upgrade skip, troop research skips. I think I still have a troop research skip from the last time, really. So, and troop upgrade ability, that one's would be a nice one to get to. But there you go. Yeah. And of course we've got raids going on. And it just occurred to me that I didn't actually claim all of these crystals from the shards. So let's go ahead and go do that. Actually, I'm going to go in there now and come back into it, because if you go and claim the shards from the space bridge, it doesn't give you the confirmation thing every time. It just kind of, you can do it a little bit faster. So what do you guys think about those character-driven quests in the Cyber Pass? You know, use Trailbreaker. There was one day last week, use Dust Up and Power Glide. And then the very next day I got Dust Up again. And I haven't got it yet, but I'm certain he's going to show up Nose Cone. So what do you guys think about those? Alright, so I'm not getting any 4-star crystals because I'm saving up the 30,000. The 4-star Titan part, they say, is going to be becoming available tomorrow for 30,000. I'm not quite halfway there yet, but I'm not wasting it on 4-star crystals, which are almost guaranteed duplicates. So I'm going to be saving my 4-star shards. I will grab these 3-star shards because these are guaranteed 4-star shards. So 4 3-star crystals there, all guaranteed to be duplicates. So that's a good 360 extra 4-star shards. We'll take that. Thank you very much. Silverbolt says about those quests, they're pretty good, easy, and better than being locked like the Ore one or the Hard Wars. Yeah, exactly. I'll never complete a Hard War one because we just don't battle in that kind of a war. So some of them are just not going to happen. Ditto, on the other hand, says not a big fan. Tachiuechi says, think I already got a Nose Cone quest. Hey, DJ Art. Altabot Phil says, character-driven quests are fine. Wish they could be specific to 4 or 5-star bots we need to level up. Yeah, see, the thing that annoys me about a lot of these, Trailbreaker is probably the first one that this comment doesn't apply to, but all of the ones they've been given to me so far have been for bots that I have maxed and needing research. So I've been having to go into these battles and wasting chances to earn XP because they're all maxed. Trailbreaker is the only one who I actually consistently run on one of my squads and earns XP. So this is the first time I actually get a bot that is in my regular rotation. Excuse me, Bricks Motion got a Nose Cone quest too. Let's see what else. Oktar says doesn't mind because sometimes first use bots don't normally use. Right. I think that's cool too. My only gripe is the ones that I got, like I said, were maxed and weren't really earning XP anyway. Joey Johnston doesn't mind them. Victory Star Saber apparently has to win 5 battles with Nose Cone. Auto-corrected to God Cone, which they did say in the newsletter. I didn't cover it, but they did say Nose Cone and Drill Horn mods are in work. So imagine if the Nose Cone comes out of that rework and is just super awesome, then we will have to call him God Cone. Joseph Trujillo says it's awesome having extra fuel cells from the past. Yeah, I agree. I agree. DJ Hart says be getting Optimal, Monkey Prime, Cosmos, Double Dealer, and Beast Wars Ironhide. I had a Beast Wars Ironhide the other day. Bricks Motion got Beast Wars Silverbolt. The last 2 and 3-star bot missing. So, oh, so you don't even have that character? That is kind of messed up. That if they're giving quests for characters that you don't even have. Ugh, that's annoying. Alright, so this is a War for Cybertron skin. Pretty sure it's a Decepticon 1. Nope, it's a Lita. Lita 1. Okay, so that's just going to go collect dust, because I don't use the War for Cybertron skins. I did put my Shattered Glass skins out there on Optimus and Megatron. And let's check this G-Metal chip. What are we getting here? Attack. I don't really use a lot of those, but it's good to have in case I want to. And gold power core chips, let's see what we get. Joaquin says, I don't even have a single 4-star. Hang in there, buddy. You'll get it eventually. Lightning Rod. Oh, that's one for the build bots, isn't it? I might have to start upgrading my build bots. I haven't done many of them because I was like, if I don't have good power cores for them, what's the point in upgrading them? Anti-air laser, don't think I really need that. I've got pretty decent building cores. And this is what? Adaptive shielding? Yeah, I definitely don't need that. Oh, point defense beam? Yeah, I don't need that. I think I've got a G-Metal one on there right now, already. And a Rejuvenate, that's always good to have. I've got quite a few of them that I haven't assigned yet. But I will eventually. Let's go ahead and crack these premium crystals. And we may get an additional 3-star crystal out of these duplicates from 26 crystals. I want a 4-star of that guy so I can get Magna Boss. But probably not going to happen during this round. I'd like if it did. Yeah, see, by the time we brought in Trailbreaker and Hoist, we had already gotten the Earthrise figures of them, so they're taking the Earthrise mold of them. So they, you know, they're not using the Thrilling 30 version of them. Thank you, Ryan Boyd. I'm glad you're enjoying them. And yeah, definitely a lot of 3-star shards from that group, 600 of them. Nothing really good in the core department. There's a Goldfire that gives us a little extra 4-star shards. Deploy. Slug. Or Slag if you're a purist. Rook. There's Red Alert. So yeah, pretty so far pretty standard for our crystal cracking. So now we got to do these last few one at a time. Got a leader 1. Razor Quake need 3-star Beast Wars Ironhide because he's the only Magnaboss bot that you need. Also on the hunt for Prowl 3 stars to get Optimus Maximus. Well, man, I hope you get Beast Wars Ironhide first. Light speed. Firefly. Double Dealer. And Trailbreaker. Ooh, got a nice bonus gold volatile mixture core. I do like that. Nice getting a gold core from a 2-star dupe. Don't see that very often. And it looks like we did not get any additional 3-star crystals to crack, so we'll go ahead and crack these now. Which duplicates are we getting? We're getting an RC. Gnaw. Good old Gnaw. Skyburst. And the last duplicate is Grapple. If you ever hear people calling him Grapple, that's because there was a toy back, man, it was before Thrilling 30. It was like the 2010 line, and he was released, and it's called Solar Storm Grapple. They reversed the letters E and L, so it's Grappel. So you would more like say it Grapple. So that's kind of why I kind of went and said that. It just kind of stuck with me. It's a pretty decent toy. I've got him on the shelf somewhere. Obviously, we like the Earthrise Grapple. It's kind of like the model that we've got in the game, because that's more traditional. So yeah, that's basically it. Somebody asked about my 4-star Omega Supreme. I got to tell you, I haven't used him yet. I've got him. So there's my Defensor level 19, Computron is 17, Volcanicus 15, Victorion 13, Superion 11, Optimus Maximus 10, and Omega Supreme 4-star. He's level 10. I'm going to be upgrading this guy, but I just didn't want to do it just yet because I wanted to show it off for you guys. It was last stream, which was Thursday last week, because I couldn't do it Wednesday, and so that's where we actually ranked him up. It took him like 4 days to rank up, so it was Monday I think he finished, and I was about ready to press, and I was like, I don't want to have him in the lab for 7 days. So there he is. He's level 10, but his level will go higher. As you see, I've got 1.1 million combat combiner spark, so it's 95,000 for this one, and yeah, it goes up pretty quick. I could probably get a good 3 or 4 levels from the combiner spark that I've got there, so I'm going to basically use all of the combiner spark that I've got left to get this guy leveled up for now. Then I'll start saving up more. Kind of want to, and then there's Magna Boss, of course. He's stuck at level 10 as a 3-star because of Ironhide. I kind of want to take Defensor to 20, but I also kind of want to upgrade Computron because I've been kind of liking Computron a lot lately. But no, we're going to be leveling Omega Supreme. As far as the rocket ship, probably never going to happen. But I'll get my 4-star as high as I can. So there we go. Victory Star Saber saying, I've got enough spark to get him to level 19 if you did the math right. Well, that would be fantastic. Or I might take him to 17 where Computron is and then take Computron higher. I guess we'll see when I get him close to the equivalent to Computron. See whether I like Computron or Omega Supreme better and decide which one I want to take further. I really like Computron. I mean, if I ever want to go an extra zone above what a squad will do, I usually bring out Computron or Defensor. But I mean, Computron, most of my squads are 13. I've got a few that can hit 14, and I've got one that's kind of stuck at 12. But if I'm running Computron with that squad that's hitting zone 12, if I push them into 13 and run Computron, they basically just walk to the headquarters because Computron almost levels the zone 13 base. About the only bases that Computron has tough time with is if it's really spread out. But if you've got any of them that are so that are close together, or even just pockets that are close together, Computron levels it. It's amazing. DJ Hart says rocket ship is so worth it. Yeah, it's worth the cost of 3 5-star bots. I don't think so. The only reason I've been using combiners lately is because of that Cyber Pass quest that says you got to collect so much Ore 13 from your harvester. The only way to collect the Ore 13 is to actually use it. So I've been having to run combiners I've been having to run my combiners to use the Ore 13 just so I can harvest it for that Cyber Pass quest. It's actually good though, because I've been kind of having fun with the combiners too. So I'm kind of glad that quest is there, kind of forcing me to use the combiners. So Soldier, what's going on, man? Oh, it's very nice to have 4-star Computron there, Risk. Very, very nice. For you Decepticons, it would be nice to have 4-star Lio Kaiser. What combiner do I have on defense? I have Optimus Maximus 4-star ability because he sucks as a bot in battle. In my humble opinion, but I'm pretty confident at least 90% of other people would agree with me on that assessment of Optimus Maximus. Oh, yeah. DJ Hart spam 5-star Omega Supreme in Zone 13 and solo him for almost 75 fuel cells. Tons of event points. He also says my humble opinion about Optimus Maximus would be correct. Thank you. Alright, so we're not doing anything in the game, so we'll back to me. Super Scott says you can hit all the Cyber Pass points without even trying to do the individual goals. Yeah, you know, sometimes you can score a lot of the Cyber Pass points and complete a lot of those quests without even trying, without even focusing on I want to hit this one, I want to hit that one. If you just play the game enough, you can make a pretty decent way into the Cyber Pass just by playing the game and not even trying specifically to hit any of those quests. True. So I did get the Shatterglass Optimus skin and was surprised that we got the Shatterglass Megatron as well. Rick's Motion, nearly enough to get 4-star Omega or 5-star Monkey. You know, when I was faced with that decision a while back, I chose 5-star Monkey. And now I haven't actually used 4-star Omega. But I think a lot of people would probably tell you to go 4-star Omega. Yeah, Tachiuechi's saying that. I did use Omega like when he first came out. I did do a little bit on the test account. That test account has since been overridden and reset to my current account, so I don't have ridiculously powered Omega Supreme. But I did like his ability, and but I did use it enough really to get comfortable with it and see what it could really do. Like I said, I went with Monkey Prime previously, and after using 4-star Omega, I will reevaluate that decision and let you know whether I made the right call or not in a future stream. So, Monkey Prime does die fast because he kind of jumps out there. Yeah. How am I doing the Cyber Pass? Oh yeah, I showed that earlier. I'm like 850. I just hit 850. I'm at 870 right now. So, let's look at some toys, shall we? I know we already looked at some of them. We got Minerva and Flatline there, aka Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter, and he's Trail Cutter. The toy is Trail Cutter. There was even a bit in one of the comics. I think it was the Trailbreaker Spotlight, Trail Cutter Spotlight. There was actually a dialogue between him and Whirl about how he wanted to change his. He was feeling a little underappreciated, wanted to change his image a little bit, and Whirl was suggesting, well, how about a name change? How about he suggested, how about Trail Cutter, because cutting seems be a little bit tougher or whatever. So there was a little bit about that to kind of justify the name change, probably because for trademark reasons they could not use Trailbreaker. So that's pretty much how it goes. If there's most of the times, if a character is released with a name other than what you're accustomed to, it's usually a trademark region. That's why Swoop couldn't be called Swoop for a while. Slag, that's a whole different story. That's one of the outliers. That one is just because some people, slag is an offensive term in some countries, and even though he was named after like the waste product of metal refining, the leftover stuff is slag. So anyway, let's move these guys out of the way. It's going to get crowded. It's going to get crowded here. So I'll move them over here. You can't see where I moved them. Oh, what do I start with? Okay, so last week I would have shown you this guy. Studio Series Perceptor. Studio Series 86 Perceptor arrived. I ordered him from Amazon, and he showed up in my mail. Not a whole lot else to say about that, but I mean he's good. I mean he's basically does everything you would hope a Perceptor would do. Probably the only gripe, and you've probably seen other people do it. The only gripe really is he's got this big hole in his back. Where the head flips around. So when you transform him, you just kind of flip the head back in like that. But there's no cover or anything like that. But I know Larkin's Lair. He does a lot of 3D printing, and he designs the stuff. As soon as he got a Perceptor, within like 2 days, he had designed a cover for this, taking advantage of this hole right here. It's a screw hole, but it also is like a 5mm port, I think. But he figured out a way to, he even went through like 2 or 3 revisions or whatever. But I think he's got a cover. I don't know if it's up yet, but it's definitely coming. And I think he's also going to be I think he's got some stuff for the fillers for the arms there. He's really talented, and I don't have a link to his shop right now, but you should check out Larkin's Lair on Etsy. He's got a lot of really good 3D printed accessories and stuff like that. I got him. I had him pre-ordered on Amazon forever, and he came in stock and he showed up. I have not seen him in stores yet, but Amazon had him. I think the other thing I was going to, Brix Motion was asking about, can I show my custom figures? And I've got my Shattered Glass Thundercracker here. I haven't transformed him out of the alt mode yet, because I want to minimize how many times I transform him, so I'm kind of leaving him there. Oh, I didn't even bring him. I just today in the mail I received my Shattered Glass faction symbols from Toy Hacks. I ordered a set of Autobot and Decepticon Shattered Glass symbols, so I've got the red Decepticon symbols I'm going to put on him. But I'm not sure if I want to do that right away, because I talked about I might do some extra detail on him, and if I'm going to do some more painting on him, I don't want to put the stickers on just yet. But I have them now. But I did notice. There's a couple little scrapes right there on the side, and I think there might be another little scuff up top here, just since I think I showed them off. I don't know if it had anything to do with the transformation, or if that's just kind of the nature of custom Transformers. So that should be pretty easy to touch up, though. And there's definitely other parts on him where I didn't realize it would be exposed once I put it all back together. I definitely did not paint the insides of the holes, because if you do that, then you can't get the weapons or anything in. Same thing, I didn't paint the... I think I did get some paint inside that one. No, I didn't. Well, at least I didn't intend to. Apparently I did get a little. I also did not paint the handles of the weapons. Because it's such a tight tolerance inside those. You don't want to put paint on them unless you sand it down first. So clearly, a little paint did get inside there because it rubbed off over onto this handle. That might actually not be a bad thing because the holes on the shoulders were already kind of loose on this, so actually getting a little bit of paint on that's probably not a bad thing. So yeah, there's that. And the other custom, I was actually going to show this off because this is the custom class figure from the TFCon back in October, and I painted them up, and I never put them together, and I decided it was time to put them together. I did not fix any of the paint yet, but I was like, I don't have to fix it while it's still on the sprue. I could actually put it together, and I could fix it. I can still repaint it even after it's together. It's a model kit. It snaps together. I can unsnap it if I need to. And it's kind of good that I did. So there he is. This is basically, they call it Delta Powered Commander. Kind of like a Delta Magnus. He's basically supposed to be like the original Ultra Magnus had a blue cab. Basically like a blue Optimus. And that's kind of what this is supposed to be. And the metallic gray, these were like the gray parts, and I actually happened to have built this is the attack mode Optimus. This was actually the Nemesis Prime version of it. So these parts here, like in his crotch area and his legs and even his face and his arms, they were the gray parts, kind of like they are on Optimus, the gray plastic. And they had us paint them with like a metallic gray. And in the pictures that they were showing us, as an example, it was not nearly this dark. Actually, yeah, so you can kind of see here that's kind of the color of the plastic. But it was not nearly that dark. So when I first like, man, he's a lot darker than I thought he was going to be. But I kind of like it. I kind of like the extra darkness. So some of the things that I noticed that I want to do. You might see some of this like little rust, and that was part of the thing they showed us. There's a little technique you can do. You can add a little bit of orange paint there, makes it look like rust, and got it on his legs in a few spots. I did notice when I was putting it together, there were a few other spots like on his arm here and on his arm here that I neglected that I forgot that I put there and didn't add any orange paint onto. So I want to go back and do that. And then it was just a little bit of sloppiness. The shadows are blocking it, but there's a little overpaint on his little shoulder piece, and even down here in this area, like this one's a little bit overdone. That one's actually a little underdone on the inside. So these are kind of little things that I want to go back and do. And the interesting thing about these parts inside his shoulders, why there's still that gray plastic, is the way it was put on the sprue. It's painted on the back side. Because that's the side that everything else was that you were to paint. But for whatever reason, those were put on the sprue upside down. So I really actually needed to paint the underside of everything else. So it's kind of weird. But I decided I'd go ahead and put it all together. And so I'm going to do that. I also wanted, they didn't give us any instructions for the weapons like the axe or the gun. I also want to do something with that. But that's where he's at right now, and he's actually all put together, and I think it's I'm glad I got it, and I definitely want to do more with the customizing. So these are the two that I have right now, but actually putting him together kind of I kind of went a little crazy with the whole model building kit. So I got him put together, and I was like, that was kind of fun doing that. Let's do some more. So I had this Megatron kit, so I went ahead and put Megatron together. This is the Autobot version of Megatron. They did make a Decepticon version of the Megatron. Turns out it's basically the same thing, except you get a Decepticon sticker, and I think the face is a little bit more angry, as opposed to this one's a little more stoic, but essentially the same thing. So he looks great. The only sticker I put on was that one. He's got stickers to make the chest silver, but he's already got the scroll work. So they gave you a sticker to put over all this nice scroll work to make it silver, and it had the scroll work on it too. And I was like, man, that's right there. That's primed to be painted and get like use the whole panel lining technique to kind of get in there and get it to put it out. So when am I going to paint it? I have no idea, but I wanted to put it together. But I also didn't put any stickers on him because I'll probably paint him up at some point. It's a little different with this guy because you're just creating a whole new character and you can do kind of whatever you want. Whereas Megatron, you kind of want to be a little bit more specific. Yeah, so let's see. What's the next one that I did? The next one that I did... Well, Rodimus. And oh my gosh, I love this thing. So same thing. Want to put some paint on this guy eventually. I mean, especially like all of his pipes. I mean, that is dying for shiny silver or chrome on those parts there. And so there. Oh man, I don't have the words. He's just awesome. I mean, you know, Hot Rod's my favorite character. I mean, I'm wearing the T-shirt, for crying out loud. But there he is, and it's just so good. It's so good. It's definitely the IDW version of Rodimus, and if you like that particular version of Rodimus, then you should be all over this figure. It's a pretty cool little model kit to put together, and he looks fantastic. You can't really hardly tell, but he does have two different shades of orange. He's kind of like a darker orange red here, plus a little bit of a lighter orange, and he does have a couple of guns. Obviously with the hands where you could hold the guns. I think he's got the kind of grabby hand, say kind of what Megatron's got there. Call it a grabby hand or a jazz hand or whatever. So a couple of different hand options. But yeah, someone banned DJ Hart there for that hashtag. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so you got that. See, what's the next one that I did? Oh yeah. I got in how to get Hot Rod's buddy, and I kind of put it. This guy really drift, obviously, and I put him in this pose almost immediately, and I just love it. So he's got his great sword, and he's also got his two daggers or other swords there, and not putting the stickers on him really kind of makes it suffer because there's a lot of sticker detail putting on him. A lot of little extra red to go along, like on the shoulders and various bits like that. So holding off on the stickers on him makes him a little bit, it does kind of, it is a bit of a drawback. One of the cool things I like about this one is the Autobot symbols are actually molded in on his shoulders. They're actually molded Autobot symbols there. So that's really cool. And I didn't realize it. They didn't mention it in the instructions, but there's like, when I got done, there's like a whole duplicate set of certain parts, like the legs that are black, and like the arms and the legs, and I think even some of the feet that are kind of in the dark gray black. There's counterparts that are actually white. So if you don't like Drift having all this extra black on there, you could actually redo them with the white pieces to make him a little bit more all white. Personally, I like it, breaks it up a little bit, so I think having those all be white would be a little bit too much. I don't know if it was intended for them to be options or if somebody messed up, but because I mean it wasn't just a completely duplicate set. If I recall, it was not just a completely duplicate piece of sprue in a different color. I think you did use a little bit from each of them. So, I don't know. But anyway, so there's Drift. Love him. Love him. And then I was still feeling the urge. Still feeling the urge to build a model. But I was down to Bumblebee, 2 different Optimuses or 2 different Seekers. I'd already built Starscream, and I already built, excuse me, Attack Mode Optimus, and I already built the other Attack Mode Nemesis Prime. So I was like, okay, do I do Bumblebee, pick one of the Optimuses, do Skyward for Thundercracker? Well, I chose one of the Optimuses. This is the IDW Optimus Prime kit, which kind of makes sense because we got the IDW represented in Drift, Rodimus, and Megatron. So this is the IDW version of Optimus. He's got quite a few stickers to go on him too, including big ones for his forearms there. But very, very cool. He's even got little wings on the back. Very different mold. You know, if you're like, oh, I already built one Optimus. Well, this is a completely different Optimus. There's absolutely nothing alike about them, except the fact that they're both Optimus Primes. But the actual kits, completely different. Completely different. So yeah, clearly this one's a little bit, the attack mode one is clearly very stylized. This is really more of a traditional Optimus in the IDW style. The third Optimus kit I have is the G1 style. So we've got that. So there we go. Somebody was asking, Victory Star Saver was asking, how many hours did all of this take you? Oh, I didn't clock it. Except for Optimus, which I did entirely in a day on Saturday. Most of them, I sat down in the evening, about 7 or 8 o'clock, and started. And like say Megatron, Rodimus, and Drift, all of them. I sat down about 7 to 8 o'clock at night and worked on them for, I'd say, a good 3 or 4 hours, and got the top part done. It was kind of funny that it worked out that way. Head, both arms, and all of the torso. About the only thing left was the waist and the 2 legs, and whatever other weapons or other accessories. And then I would do the rest of it the next night. Again, take about 2 or 3 hours. Usually didn't take as long to do the legs. So I'd say it's probably a good 5 or 6 hours total per kit, spread out across multiple days. The red is very slimming on that Rodimus. You say it looks slightly female. Yeah. Well, but it's very true to his character, though. His character design is very, very slender there. But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. He's even kind of well endowed up top. Hey, if that's what you want to have in your head canon, you go right ahead. Should get a blaster and paint it into the twin cast colors? There's an idea, but I have a sneaky suspicion you're not going to need to. I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a twin cast coming out in Generation Selects. Because you know how they always do like alternate colors in the Generation Selects line or whatever. You can get them from Hasbro Pulse, or they usually show up other places or whatever. I can almost guarantee you're going to see a twin cast coming out of that. I mean, that's where we got Sound Blaster. I guess he did show up in that Walmart line too, but that's where you get a lot of the alternate colors. I mean, we got the multiple like what was it? The Sunstreaker Coordinate Spin Out. It was like the red and the white version of Sunstreaker. We got a couple of different versions of Sideswipe. We got Tiger Track and Deep Cover. So I would be positive we're going to be seeing Twin Cast coming out. Altabot Phil says possibly going to be mainline if the listings are correct. I could be, But you can almost guarantee they got to use that mold for something else. They got to get their money from that mold. I mean, they already released Blaster as part of Kingdom. He's coming out again in Legacy. He's partnered with Bulkhead. But some people are getting that Bulkhead, and I'm so jealous because I haven't seen him. I've looked. Yeah, I would be floored if we don't see a twin cast actually get released. But I mean, hey, if you want to paint it, then yeah, I mean, it's certainly a good thing to do. How easy were the model kits to put together? You're new to model kits. Well, let me tell you, I was a little concerned about that myself because I was pretty new to model kits. I mean, I had done some model kits as a kid, you know, like the cars and the war machines and stuff like that. It's a completely different thing. There was, you know, you cut out the pieces and then you got to glue them and then you try to paint them. It always looked like junk because I didn't put a lot of time into it. I didn't really try hard. These are not that kind. There's no glue required. There are on some models they do recommend gluing certain pieces together, but it's not always really required. Like I can't remember. I think it might have been this Optimus one. I think they recommended gluing something together. Or was it Rodimus? Drift, maybe? I don't know, but anyway, there was one of these guys had a piece where they recommended gluing it together. I didn't do it, and yeah, it does come off a little bit easy, but I did want to glue it up anyway because in case I take it apart to paint it. But anyway, no, the instructions are pretty easy to follow. The sprues are all laid out well. They all have the letter stamped on a little information flag, and each of the pieces are numbered. And the instructions are really well done, and it might take you a little bit to kind of get used to how they do all this stuff, but it's still it's pretty easy, and it's all snapped together. Probably the only thing you need to do is get nippers. I don't know if you've seen them, but look up nippers. You can usually get them at like at a hobby store. Or, you know, you might even find some at Target, like over in the little pop culture area, because they sell Gundam over there. Instructions are mostly black and white. But I would say give it a shot. If you're unsure of it. Oktar, thank you for the super chat. Says, "Wow, who knew how good Rodimus would look in a bustier?" Oh my goodness! Just one more thing for you guys to rag on Rodimus about, huh? So yeah, Victory Stars here. Let me. If you're curious, and I kind of did this myself. If you're unsure of these model kits, because these do tend to be kind of pricey. If you want to practice, get yourself an inexpensive Gundam kit. What I actually did, if you go on Amazon, you look for for the SD Gundams. They're like these little dudes, and I don't have any nearby. But they're like the SD is super deformed. They're real small. The legs don't even move. They're just all one piece. You can get them for like $10. You could also probably find you might find some other ones that are more like this scale for like Target. I found, I don't know if where you're at, if you're near Target or something. If you go over to that pop culture section, they have the RX-78-2. It's like $12. So if you're worried about getting into a $30, $40, $50 kit like these guys. It's actually have that right here if you give me a second. When most people think of Gundams, this is like the main one. This is like the main Gundam. I don't know anything about Gundam, but I do know that this is like the main one. So they sell this at Target. I was just at one near me, and they had probably 10 of these things on the shelf. It's $11.99. So if you're unsure and you want to get some practice, go get yourself this kit and give it a try. So you say you've assembled Mega Man X model kits. I've never seen that, but yeah, if you've done other model kits before, I'm sure you could do these. It's not that hard. So it's not made by the same people, but I mean, you've probably seen instructions like this. This is for the Gundam, so it's not exactly like the. So this isn't exactly the same as the Transformers, but it's more or less the same idea. I think the Transformers ones might have some color to it now that I'm looking at this, but it's basically the same idea. The Gundam generally is done in Japanese, though the Transformer kits are written in English. So yeah, so that's what I did. I did those couple little SD Gundams, and actually I just did one of them. I'm like, oh, this is a breeze. So then I started doing the one, and then mostly they just sat there, and I just never got around to doing them. I have been picking up actual Gundam. I just got this one like a month ago, and I actually just picked up a different one today. I didn't find a Transformer. I was like, hey, well, let's go get a Gundam. It's actually one of those ones that transforms. It says it transforms, but really it's just kind of, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot to it. But anyway, so I've been kind of building some because there's only so many Transformer kits. Let's see. Have a good one, Oktar. See ya. But there was... Oh, I hope you didn't go yet because I did get another thing. Oh, you're not seeing it. And this one's kind of for you. So, in addition to all of these guys, I did find Coronation Starscream. I don't really I haven't really compared paints there, Alpha Trion. The custom kit class kits used Tamiya acrylics, and I figured, and it worked okay, so I figured I'd go ahead and go do that. So I just went and got a bunch more. I was trying to learn a little bit more before I got into it, and after I ordered all of this acrylic paint, I learned a little bit more about paint because I wanted to how do you do the details, and found there's a lot more about paint than just that. Like there's lacquer and there's enamel and there's acrylic and there's different ways. Like really, if you're gonna do detail, you should probably put lacquer or enamel down because they're harder. So like if you mess up on the acrylic, you can just use you can use water or something to clean it off. Because if you do acrylic on acrylic and you try to clean it off, you're going to clean off the base coat. But if you use one of the harder paints like lacquer or enamel first, and then you do the acrylic to do the details, and then you want to clean that off, it doesn't mess up the other one as long as you use the right thinner. And for acrylic, it's basically water. So there's a whole lot more about paints that I want to get into, but I'm not there yet. I've basically done really just one on my own. Two, I did a paint by the numbers more or less. So, but yeah, the throne accessory is pretty cool. It actually comes completely assembled, surprisingly. So he's got his own. These are the standard weapons that come with the Earthrise version of him. So you get a new type of extra null rays to go along to work with with his shoulder pauldrons, because those actually tab into the side where his null rays usually go. So you get extra ones to go work with that. And then of course you get the cape, which is actually kind of designed to be flared out off to the side like that. I'm sure you could kind of rock it if you want it to be a little bit more even. I haven't actually tried to sit anybody in here yet. Let's take a... Usually... he doesn't actually have. That's it. These usually have pretty good articulation, but doesn't like he can't actually bring his legs that far forward. That works. There's Megatron on the throne. In fact, oh, I just pulled his hand off. He's watching Starscream pose and he's giving him a face palm. He may not be Galvatron, but he recognizes the bad comedy. Not Galvatron yet. Meanwhile, you got the Delta Prime coming up there, ready to start hacking people. That's quite the picture. How far do you disassemble parts for painting? Well, that's a good question. In the case of Thundercracker, I took them apart as much as I could. It was convenient that I've got quite a mess going on there, so I'm just going to go up here. He's actually got quite a few screws, and they're mostly hidden when he's in this mode. But he's got quite a few screws, like on the legs, and he's got one in the side of the chest, so you can get the waist apart, and the arms of a few screws. And conveniently, they're all the same exact screw, so I didn't have to worry about which screw goes where. The only ones that were different were the screws for the nose cone parts. They're obviously different because they've kind of got a flange, almost a built-in washer on the screw, so it's obvious that those are different. And then you'd also do have to watch out because of there's a spring in each of the legs. But it's I took it apart as much as I could. If I could take the screw apart, I did. I did not worry about taking any pins apart. So, like, for example, like this whole part back here, this section and the wings, it's all held together by pins. Even this this back thruster part, actually, I think you could probably have popped that off. But if it's pinned, I kept it together because I have no experience taking apart pins. I know it's possible to do so, and I know people have done it, but I haven't done it myself, and I just wanted to get this guy painted, and I didn't want to worry about going through that trouble. But I would say take it apart as much as you think it needs to, because if you don't, some things that need to move might end up getting fused with the paint. And especially with the case of this guy, where he's so many different colors on so many different parts, you kind of have to take him apart quite a bit. So now I was looking at the Hound, Siege Hound. I was going to paint him into like a Junkion, like Detritus, and that Siege Hound is mostly pinned. So probably not going to be able to take him apart very much. All right, so I kind of undid him a little bit, so you can kind of see he's got a screw right inside there. Yeah, it's not really coming across, but he's got the screw on the back side of his arm here. Yeah, so I took it apart everywhere that I could. There was any place where it was pinned, I just left it, because I'm not messing with trying to take apart pins. I want to eventually, because I got one of the old BotCon collection sets. It was like their Machine Wars set, and it's got like a Machine Wars Hoist in there out of that old Generations cut mold. But they assembled the arms backwards, and it doesn't really. You can still transform him, and it looks okay, but it's just something's not quite right about it. I'd love to disassemble, swap them, but they're pinned. So I'm just kind of having to live with it for now. But and for something like that, that's an exclusive figure. You're not getting another one of those. That's definitely not going to be the first one that I attempt to take a pin out of, if you know what I'm saying. All right, Star Saber just ordered Megatron and Rodimus. Good to hear. You're gonna like them. Windblade just came out actually. I have Windblade sitting in my roller stash at the Chosen Prime. So, and I think Iron Factory Sea Spray showed up, but between the two of them, that's not enough to ship yet. So I'm waiting for something else, or maybe I'll go on there and maybe I'll find something else to push it over that mark. But so I got a Windblade kit coming too. So that one I'm probably going to do immediately because that just looks awesome. Razor Clank says, let's just ignore the Autobot symbol on Megatron. Autobot Megatron is a thing. And I thought it was a great story about that. I know some people absolutely hate it, and that's fine. You can. I liked it. That's why I got the Autobot Megatron kit. I was happy to put that Autobot symbol on it. Windblade is too set for your collection. Yes, it's not that bad. Definitely not on the level of that Nicey figure. But I get it. You know. They did take some liberties with her dimensions and design. See, Razorblade says, I would love to make a Whirl from Rescue Bots Academy out of the Combiner Wars helicopter mold or Siege Spinister. Those are some interesting designs, though. Yeah, so I mean, it would just be a different take. I mean, you could certainly color them for to match. If I recall, it's a her. Whirl is a her in the Rescue Bots Academy, if I recall. So I mean, you can certainly do that. You just have to try to get a good paint match. If I were to do Shatterglass Thundercracker again, I would probably use a little bit of the red. I think should be maybe a little bit lighter, and the green more of a lime green. This is more of just like a standard RGB green. It should be. I think it should be would work better as more of a lime green, and the red more not quite pink, but not quite so red. So, but I was again being the first custom that I did and wanted to get it done right away. I wasn't going to get into mixing paints and to try to create any custom colors, so I was like, you know what, red's going to be fine, green's going to be fine. I did have two different versions of green. This is kind of like, they call it park green, whereas green is darker. This is park green, so this is a lighter. So I did have two different greens to choose from. But yeah. You know, it's one of those things where you just kind of got to get started. The first thing that you're going to do is not going to be a masterpiece. It's not going to be perfect, but go do it anyway, because you're going to learn some things. I definitely learned some things, and I acknowledge this is not a masterpiece, but I still love the heck out of it. It kind of helps that the such crazy colors. It just it just makes it easier to be. You know, say, is that a mistake or was it meant to be that crazy? It was a mistake. No, you just gotta practice. You know, the more you, just like anything, the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. And as you do things, you're gonna learn tricks. So, you ever use toy hacks on a different bot than what it's for? No, I haven't. I pretty much use the toy hack sets just for the bots that they're for. There have been times where I have chosen not to put particular stickers on a bot just because I didn't think it worked. Obviously, there's toy hacks. Oftentimes they'll come with options, so I've got stuff left over, and I think usually if there were stickers left over, I would save it. I know some people save it even if there's no stickers left over because all the stuff on the outside, oftentimes it's still silver. You can cut it to a shape that you want for something else. You can customize your Toy Hacks stickers or whatever. I know people have done that, but I haven't. You know, it's funny. I actually have a lot of faction symbols, but a lot of my there's very few of my third-party figures have I even bothered to go put a faction symbol on. There's a couple of them I have, but most of them I just never got around to putting a faction symbol on. I have them. I have the symbols. I just never put them on. You know, it's one of those things that you gotta take the time to do, and I just never did. What made hack is when did Megatron turn into an Autobot? Yeah, in IDW during the Lost Light. It was started off as More Than Meets the Eye comics and ended up and then transitioned into the Lost Light comics. And that explains why Megatron became an Autobot. I know he put that symbol on. I know he put the Autobot badge on, and honestly, I think it was more symbolic. I wouldn't say he really joined the Autobots, but you know, he did put the Autobot symbol on his chest, but it was more of a symbolic thing. It was Dark Cybertron, I think, is the story which really kind of culminated in that, because that was a story where Shockwave kind of was basically trying to destroy the universe, and Megatron was fighting against him, and kind of went and a particular person who he had become close with for a particular reason ended up dead, and you know, it kind of really triggered something in him, and he kind of, you know, wore his badge you know, as a symbolic gesture, which everybody kind of thought it was funny because, you know, you take the badge off of this dead Autobot, and so you put it on your chest, but it's kind of like you just skinned him and put, so it's kind of weird. But if you read the book and you see him, then especially the way that they depict it in the drawing, it's kind of weird. It wasn't meant to be that way, but you could totally read it that way. Yeah, definitely highly recommended if you could read that kind of stuff. Or if nothing else, go over to TF Wiki and read. You know, you can't read the whole book, but you can at least read the summary. You kind of get an idea. But yeah, that's basically it was very, very long. It was over the span of years and dozens of books, the whole progression. When we first met Megatron in IDW, he was good old Megatron, you know, very, you know, ruthless, you know, villain killing, but over the years he kind of softened and kind of started to realize that that's not what he had really set out to be, because, you know, his origin was, you know, they were being oppressed and they wanted to try to fight for, you know, equality for the lower classes, of which he was originally part of like the miners. And then but to do that, he started becoming more radical in his actions, to the point where they formed the Decepticons, and they started doing, you know, really, you know, evil things to try to, you know, enact the change that they wanted to see. And just kind of, and then over the years, just kind of power kind of went to his head, and he kind of realized he lost his way, and he decided to atone for the bad things that he did, and that's kind of what led to the Autobot Megatron. Razorquake says, as much as I love Generations Drift, I'd love to see an updated version, preferably based on its comic design. Exactly. The Generations Drift was good. and I really enjoyed it. But you know, when I've gone back to it recently, I was like, you know, this is really kind of a dated figure. Um, it really that drift could really use an update, and the only drifts we've seen since that are like the movie drift, which is completely different, and the RID 2015 drift, which is completely different. Now he doesn't transform, but if you want a good drift figure, get that model kit. He's awesome. Get you a drift model kit. He doesn't transform, but man, he's awesome. He's so good. I can't even tell you. Generation Sentience Magnets. I still think about that from time to time. How much I'd love to have one of the Sentience Twins toys. I just don't see it ever happening. I mean, look at Flatline. We're getting him in the game too, and you know he's been around for a little while. He never got a toy. Victory Star Sabers. I love every IDW character except for Star Saber. They ruined my boy. Oh yeah, they totally made him like a religious fanatic, didn't they? Just absolute jerk of a character. And you know what's funny? That's the only I didn't even know of Star Saber before I saw him in IDW. So I had to learn more about the what Star Saber actually was to realize why everybody was so upset. Razor Clank says, my personal favorite comic from IDW was Transformers Escalation, where Optimus fought the upgraded Megatron with the giant railgun. Right, that was the, those were one of the very early IDW books, the Asians, Escalation, Revelation, or, you know, Infiltration. Have a good one, Alpha Trion. Thanks for being here, man. They did release a Shattered Glass kit. I didn't get the Shattered Glass kit. I have that Generations Drift you're talking about. I have the Shattered Glass version of that figure from the Collector Club. I also got the Deadlock version of that figure. It was a Takara exclusive or something. I spent like way too much money for it. It was like $60 or something like that. It was like 3 times the price of what a deluxe figure should be. But I wanted the Deadlock version of it, so I've got 3 of that Drift figure. I've got the normal Drift one, I got the Shattered Glass, and I've got the Deadlock. Which is cool because if you know the history of Drift in IDW Comics, he was originally he was Drift, but he was very kind of destitute and, you know, very down on his luck. I think he was even kind of addicted to the Transformers version of some kind of a drug and kind of knew Ratchet or whatever, but he was just kind of like left behind and saw a new chance at life in the Decepticons. He took on the name Deadlock and became kind of a ruthless, standard Decepticon doing a bunch of bad stuff or whatever. And then we get to see, that's where we meet him in his origin, the very first book in his origin story. And he goes over to, I don't even remember the city, but that's where he met like the Cybertronians. Like he met Wing and Diatlas, and they basically taught him, a different way of thinking. And that's where he kind of went back to being Drift, but a more heroic, confident, not addicted Drift. So imagine a Deadlock repaint of the Drift kit. I would say, you could totally do that, except the Drift does come with the Autobot symbols permanently molded. But if you were, I suppose if you wanted to, and you could probably, if you were confident enough, you could probably, either put a sticker there, or maybe even sand it, or do some way of getting that off. But Cuddy Fox is saying, I'm still learning on the Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo characters. Wish there were more in the game. Yeah, that's one of my Transformers blind spots. Pretty much anything from Beast Wars, because I didn't watch Beast Wars when it first came out, but I did go back and watch it. But anything after Beast Wars, up through, I would say, animated and where Bayformers started, pretty much that era is a blind spot for me, which, you know, I was just completely out of Transformers. In fact, I didn't even watch animated as it came on, but I did go back and watch it. I started getting more into Transformers and watching the cartoons and the fiction. Definitely, you know, obviously when Bayformers started, but it was really like around Dark of the Moon time where I really started getting heavy into it again. And that was about when Transformers Prime was on the air. So I think I picked up Transformers Prime a little ways through the first season. So. Think we're going to get anything special for the 6th anniversary? Oh, it's certainly possible. But, you know, they gave us a 5-star for the 5th anniversary, and that totally makes sense. Maybe we'll get a 6-star bot for the 6th anniversary. No, that's not a thing. It's not going to happen. It's a joke. It was a joke. Will we get a 5-star again for the 6th anniversary? Maybe. I'm probably in line with Silverbolt there. Probably just back to the 4-star crystal. You know, the 5-star was for 5 years, and that makes sense. I don't think we'll... I don't know. Maybe. Time will tell. For the 6th anniversary, they should give everyone a 5-star combat bot. There's an idea. Go over to the Discord and put in a suggestion. The Tale of the Shadows wrote that down. 6-star bots. Yeah, I don't think Dale watches live. It's pretty late over there. But pretty sure he watches the replays. At the very least. Oh my goodness, got me yawning. DJ Hart says the bot has ambitious plans for the 6-year anniversary. I'd love to have all the content creators on the show at the same time. That would be pretty cool. There would be a scheduling challenge considering how we pretty much span the globe. You know, with Waza over there in the UK and me and I think you and Soldier here in the US and Skyward Greer over there in Australia. I mean, it's basically just one or more are going to be getting up early or staying up late. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's going to be challenging. I'm down for it, though. So there's my answer. If you can pull something together, I'm in. Yeah, Soldier says Georgia. Yeah, I know you were southeast, but I know you wasn't sure where you'd landed recently. All right, awesome. Star Saber posted this suggestion. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, it gets some traction, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so yeah, it's kind of. Oh, you know, there was one more thing that I was going to show off that I never quite got to, and then we're going to get out of here. I already caught myself yawning. and my eyes are getting tired. There's no room from over there. Showed off that we've had these two guys. I picked up them at TFCon. Yeah, but 2-3 weeks ago we got the other three. We got Silverbolt, Firefly, and Quick Slingshot. I don't remember their third-party names. And Silverbolt comes with, you know, most of Superion is the legs and torso and the head. That's all pretty much like an extra piece, and Silverbolt just kind of folds up into a box and tucks into the back there. But yeah, so there they are. I've got them all combined, and they're pretty. It's pretty nice. I mean, these Silverbolts these three, the bots themselves, very loose. The joints, some of them are very loose. I mean, just like zero friction on some of them. But once you get them all combined into you know, the combined mode or whatever, it's really solid. Yeah, so all the looseness is basically the individual robot modes, but the combiner itself is solid. And since that's mostly what I got it for, I'm not really complaining too much. But yeah, so that was the last thing that I had. Oh yeah, the other thing is there's his gun, but he can't hold it because it's kind of got that masterpiece style tab thing that's supposed to go into a notch in the palm of the hand, but the tab is too big or the notch is too narrow and it doesn't quite fit in there, and the arm doesn't grip around it enough to hold it without notching it. So, and as you saw, that little chest piece doesn't stay tabbed in super securely. So nice set. The first couple bots, the skydive and air raid, very good, even as the individual bots. But the others as individual bots left something to be desired, but they combine well. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, Star Series. Love how Metroplex has a sun next to him. They need Slingshot in the game. They also need to add Groove too. Well, Groove is not coming. Groove, within the game canon, Groove died during a space bridge accident. So Groove isn't coming. They have not officially killed off Slingshot though, but I doubt he's going to show up. Because I guarantee you, if they bring in Slingshot, and there's going to be a lot of people calling to replace Alpha Bravo and Superion with Slingshot, and of course anybody with Superion is going to be like, heck no, I've already got Superion, why do I need to go get another one? So you're going to have that kind of debate and all that stuff. So I would wager that you will never see Slingshot in this game. Whether they officially killed him like they did Groove or not, I would wager you'll never see Slingshot. Transformers always come back to life. Somehow. Somehow Optimus Prime came back. Alright. Yes, I agree with Risk there. Good night, everybody. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. I'm definitely feeling it. And we've had a pretty good, nice, long stream. We didn't have one last week. So it was definitely good to have one this week. But it's time to head out. It's time. I do appreciate everybody being here. And good luck in the event. And I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends, and we'll see you next time.